Okay, artists, welcome back. So for this week, we are going to be practicing how to make different flowers that you can use to make a Mother's Day card. Because again, Mother's Day is coming up and we're not there to help you come up with projects or ideas to celebrate your moms or whoever it is that you're celebrating on this special day. I think this year it's on May 10th, which for me is a little sad because I'm used to having two Mother's Days now because then I don't know how many of you follow this tradition, but if you are um, of Latin descent, you always celebrate Mother's Day on May 10th, and if you are from the States, then you always celebrate on the second Sunday of every month. But I think this year is the first year in a while where Mother's Day is celebrated on May 10th, and it happens to be on the same day where if you're Hispanic, you also celebrate on the same day. Anyways, so we're going to learn how to draw 4 different flowers that you're going to hopefully use to decorate a Mother's Day card. And the first one that we're going to learn how to draw is an orchid. And I'm choosing to draw an orchid as one of the first flowers because it's my mom's favorite flower. She loves orchids, and she's one of the very few people that I know that can take an orchid, have all its petals and flowers fall off, and somehow manage to make it regrow more flowers. I think most of us, if you've ever gotten an orchid, usually have to end up recycling the plant because it just dies. My mom has a green thumb and is able to make orchids bloom again. So we're going to draw an orchid for the first one. And again, I'm going to be using the same drawing techniques that we covered to refer to the different shapes that I'm using to draw it. Okay, so I'm going to begin right here at the bottom, and the first shape I'm going to make is a tiny little sort of bean. You see that? And then I'm going to make a curved line touching the bean and a curved line pointing up from the bean. Then from the middle part of that line, I'm going to make it come down with another curved line. And then right here at the bottom, I'm going to make an almost closed circle. And then from this little closed circle, or almost closed circle, I'm going to make a sort of angled line, another angled line, and then a curved line go in on itself like that. From right here, do you see where I made that closed circle? I'm going to make a curved line around, almost like an ellipse. On the other side as well, I'm going to make a similar shape, almost like an ellipse. And then come the petals of the orchid. This is like the inner complicated part of it. It's like the center of the flower. I'm going to make a U. So basically this shape, but it's going to look more like a U because it's going to come down a lot. Ready? And it's going to come down right here, close to this part right here. So did you see how I did that? It's like a fancy U. So then I'm going to turn this around sideways so I can make it a lot easier for me to do this part of the petal. I basically made a curved line looking like a smile on one side, and if I turn it around, it's going to be a very similar shape on the other. I'm going to start from right here. Yeah, I just closed in that shape. Then from right here, I'm going to do another curved line, but this time it's not going to be as rounded as this edge. Bring it up. From right here again, another curved line, bringing it up. And then right here, a curved line pointing up. There we go. So that's one orchid and one feature of orchids, a lot of them, is that they have these sort of very delicate looking lines coming from the petals. So if you notice, I'm just swishing my marker across. And then most orchid flowers have quite a few petals or flowers on them. Flowers, not petals. So I'm going to make a stem coming this way for one of the orchids. Bringing it down. And I'm actually going to make the back of one flower right here. So if you want to do this as well, then you can. I'm going to bring 2 straight lines coming up. And then from those 2 straight lines, I'm going to make an almost closed oval. Again, I'm trying to use the same language that I taught you in the last video. Then from this part, almost near the bottom of that oval, I'm going to make an elongated ellipse. And it's going to actually come a little bit across that stem. I'm going to bring this part a little bit more up. I'm going to go that way, and I'm planning to make another little flower here, maybe. Actually, no. And then right here, another sort of weirdly shaped oval. Same shape around here. And then the back of the flower is also going to have some of those delicate lines. I'm thinking probably right here I'm going to make a bud, so a closed orchid. And that one's really, really simple. It's just 2 straight lines. And then it's going to be from the bottom, a closed oval, and then another similar shape coming in, and then another, if you notice, curved line right there. And then just make some delicate lines on those petals. And then right here I'm going to draw another open orchid. Ready? So I'm going to actually make this petal, well, this stem come up just a little bit here, and then again I'm actually going to start with the center of it right here because it might get cut off, but that's okay. So just like how we did at the bottom, you start with a little sort of bean, and I made mine look almost like a circle actually. 2 straight lines coming from the bean, coming down, making 2 curved lines, and then a sort of another bean near the bottom, then another bean, another bean, and then from there almost an angled line on either side, and then another angled line coming in like that. Then from here we're going to make another U, kind of like how we did here, but it's going to get cut off, so the top of the flower is not going to be able to be seen on this part of the picture, but that's okay. We're just going to pretend that we're making the top go over the paper, coming around, again pretending you're making the top, coming around and then going inward, a curved line this way, a curved line that way, and then right here we're just going to pretend that there's another big curved line at the top so that we can kind of make those lines. And if you notice, I have enough space down here to write Happy Mother's Day. So this time I am going to make it fancy just in case you want to do it too. Ready? And I bet if you even try making these fancy letters, your mom is going to be so, so happy that you're putting in so much effort for her. So there we go. We learned the first flower for today's card, an orchid. Now, let's try and practice another flower that's very popular on Mother's Day. It always gets sold out on like every market and flower store that I've ever gone to on Mother's Day. And that's a rose. So are you ready? Awesome. So a rose has a lot more petals than an orchid, but at the same time, I think it's actually a simpler flower to draw, just because all it is curved lines, and really wavy curved lines. At some points, it's going to have some pointy curved lines, but it's still pretty much curved lines, except for the center. So for the center of the rose, make I would say like an ellipse, a side ellipse. Then curved line on the side to the right, another curved line to the left. Bring this line down, and then right here, do you see this part? You're going to sweep around, making an almost closed circle. Ready? Make it a little bit wavy, and then close the circle. There you go. But then from right there, right here, bring a straight line. And then on the other side right here, bring it up. Then a curved line to the left. And then make it a little bit jagged and then sweep it in. There you go. From right here, do you see this kind of curvy point that I made? You're going to, again, make some curvy points. Make a sort of angled line going in. And then make a curved line meeting that bottom part right there. Then from right here, you're going to pretend to make a curved line going up, crossing right in front of that line that you had before. And then the rest of the flower is going to be so simple because it's just curved lines. Ready? I just made a little line right there that I forgot to do. So close this part with another curvy line. And then everything else is extremely simple. From right here, go up, curvy line. From right here, go up, curvy line. Make two straight lines, but at the same time, you're still going to have some curvy lines. Curvy angled line right there. And then from right here, curvy, jagged, pointy, but still angled line. Then the rest is just petals. Make a roundish line right there. And then a big petal with a pointy line. And there you go. You have a rose. Sometimes if you are making a rose, another popular way to make a rose is to make a closed rosebud. So I'm going to teach you how to do that really quickly as well. So you can make it on the same side, or if you want, you can make it on a different side. A rosebud is more simple because it's just a rounded sort of, it almost looks like this, except that the top portion of the bud is a little bit more pointy. So let's see, I'm going to make that right here. So for the rosebud, we're actually going to start with the stem. And rose petals, they have sort of jaggedy ones. So just make sure that when you're drawing, you're using a lot of angled lines to do it. So then right here, make a curved line. From that point, come down but make a rounded bottom. Over here, curved line, rounded edge, rounded bottom. Up here, curved line, top, go inside, and then round that, but don't go all the way down. From right here near the bottom, go up, make an angled point, and then meet the first petal that you drew on the outside of the bud. And then right here, you're going to make a thinner line, and then the rest of it is just like little petals like that, because the flower still hasn't opened. I'm actually gonna make another one like that. There you go. So you have a rosebud. And I didn't do the best job with the petals, so I wouldn't follow my instructions on that part, but there you go, you have a rosebud. Okay, the next flower we're going to practice drawing is a daisy, and the daisy is very easy. Most of you know how to draw it. It's just you need to add some little more details to make it slightly more realistic. So for the daisy, make a circle in the middle. Then around it, make a circle, but make the edges of it wavy. See how it's like a circle, but with a wavy outer edge. And then on the inside, just make a whole bunch of little bumps with curved lines. See, not pointy lines, just curved lines. And then from there, just make a whole bunch of petals. Sometimes it makes it easier if, as you're making the petals, you're turning your paper. And then be careful as you're adding more petals so that you're not overlapping what you already drew before. There you go. And then one characteristic of some daisy drawings to make it more realistic is on some top edges, make some extra details by making a sort of pointed curved line inside of the petals. Do you see how I'm doing that? So pointed curved line, more like a rounded curved line. Some go a little bit more down, some just stay in the corner. You can make an alternating pattern to do that. There you go. It just adds a little bit more texture, so when you go in with your crayon, it looks more realistic. There you go. That's a daisy. And then for the last flower I'm going to show you how to draw, it's actually going to be a lily. So let me see. I have a darker paper actually here, but that's okay. When you go in with your crayon, it doesn't matter. So for a lily, most lilies have 6 petals. But one thing that makes the lily special from some other flowers is the inner portion where the pollen is. So to make that part of the flower, you make some straight lines close together. So 2 straight lines close together, 2 more straight lines close together. I'm going to add about 6. And then for the top of each one, you're going to make little beans. There you go. And then you're going to just make the petals. I think the lily is the easiest flower that I'm teaching you how to draw, so I'm hoping you have fun with it. So a curved line. But then right here you have to be careful so that the edge of the flower is not too pointy. It's a little bit rounded. And then you go make the same shape on the opposite side. Then on this part of the petal, I'm going to overlap it a little bit. I'm going to make the same shape though, curved line, rounded points, and then same shape on the other side. On this part, I'm going to make the same thing. So curved line, rounded points, and then try to do the same shape on the other side. Now right here, we're just going to make the flower kind of open up near the bottom. So follow this same shape, but except just make it a little bit rounded, pointing this way. So right here on this side. So you see how I didn't do the exact same line on this side. I made it a bit more rounded. Same thing here. I'm going to round it. But on the other side, I'm not going to do the same shape. I'm going to kind of make a little bit different. And then right here, same shape that I did up here. Rounded points. A little bit different, but that's okay. Flowers are not perfect, which is a great reason to draw them, because that way any mistake that you make, you can use as an opportunity to make it even better. So another feature of lilies is on each petal, try to make a line down the middle of the petal. And then from the inside, do a bunch of dots near the middle of the flower. You can make them thin or you can make them thicker. And don't forget, if you are using these flowers to decorate a card for Mother's Day, to write Mother's Day on your card. So I'm going to show you another fancy way to write Mother's Day. So happy. And I'm just going to add dots to each corner of the letters. So you have a little bit of bubble writing going on this card. Happy. We're gonna write Mother's up here. And again, add some dots to each point on your letters for bubble writing. There we go. So we learned how to draw 4 different flowers today. We did an orchid, a rose, a daisy, and a lily. I hope you enjoyed this video today. I can't wait to draw again with you next week. Don't forget to work really hard on those cards, because your mothers or whoever it is that you're celebrating deserves to be treated extra special this year. Okay? Bye-bye.